Can you hear these sounds? It's 5:30 a.m. Under what looks like a full moon on my right, and the sunrise on my left. Today, let's see, I feel so many things right now. I'm doing this insanely deep work in my mastermind. This last call that we did really shook me to my core around shame and guilt, and really releasing the things that you feel shame about in your life, and the guilt that you carry. And watching these other individuals share things that they've been through, that they've done, that you would typically take to the grave if you could. Releasing that. And Garen taught us some exercises to do, one of which is a physical exercise where you lift your arms above you and then you let out a sound. As you go down, you do a squat, and you pull up, and you keep doing this physical exercise. You're making this sound. You're giving the guilt, you're giving the shame a sound on the way down. Allowing that sound to come out. The sound may be really weird. But the second part of this was writing a letter to yourself about all the things that you feel shame about, all the things you feel guilt about, and reading it out loud to yourself. I can't quite remember if he added the mirror or I did, but I did it in the mirror when I looked at myself, read this letter out loud, and then I burned it. I don't think he added the burning part, but I burned it so that I could release it. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. These things that I feel shame and guilt over in my life. Not understanding that this shame and this guilt that underlies your whole life, because whether you want to look at it or not, or whether you think about it or not, it's just underlying, and it's a blockage in your channel, a blockage in your receiving, a blockage in your money, a blockage in your life, a blockage in love, a blockage in everything in your body. And so I did this exercise, I burned it. Mind you, I weigh myself every single day. I've been the same weight for a whole week. And the next morning, I wake up 4 pounds lighter. And I hadn't done my hike in a few days. I hadn't changed what I was eating. In fact, I was eating a little less strict. I should have been heavier. But by releasing that guilt, I was literally 4 pounds lighter. And things that I was sharing, things that I was feeling guilty about and shame over, they lost the same charge that they had. And so I didn't quite understand or fully know what was going on, what I was feeling. But there was they brought to my mind Brene Brown. She talks about shame, and that shame can only exist with under a few conditions, and one of which is secrecy. And I can't really remember. But basically, it's like if you just put light on it, the power of shame kind of goes away. And so I feel like that exercise helps to put a light on that shame, and takes its bite out, you know. It's wild what people go through and what people do in their lives. In different points in their life. So people are just seeking love. People are just seeking comfort, peace, belonging. People feel lots of pain in their lives, and they make decisions from that pain, or they allow things to happen to them through that pain, or they do things to others through that pain, or inflict that pain on others, you know. And so, if anything, this exercise has taught me to be more compassionate to myself and others for all the things that I've been through, for all the things that I've done, for all the people that I've hurt, for all the shameful things I've done. Because at the end of the day, during that time, I was doing the best I knew how to do with my emotional state, the place that my heart was in, my mind, my ability, and how I was programmed and raised. And so was your parents, and so was their parents, and so was all the people who did all the things that they've done to you. And we hold pain and shame and resentment and guilt and regret and all these lower vibrational energies. And we bury that stuff and we hold on to it, and it blocks us in our lives and keeps us from being our fullest expression. It literally snuffs out the joy and the light. People live with that shit until they die. And so I couldn't more highly recommend, and not recommending in a way that you're going to enjoy it or it's going to be fun or you're going to feel great. I recommend it as like a necessity to put a voice to the things that you have felt shame over in your life and guilt, and put a light on those things. Write a letter to yourself. Read that letter out loud and burn it if you have to. Release that stuff from your body and your life. Because there's blockages and there's things that you didn't even know that are living there and underneath the surface. Today is a different day. I did this the other day, and there's something different about me inside. I can feel it. Being able to release these things. They don't hold the same power over me. I'm in a place in my life, and I'm in this container, in this mastermind, and wow, are they stretching me, they pushing me, they inspiring me to be better, to go to a different level. It's like the level that you're at right now. The things that you did to get to this level, to where I'm at right now, are not the things I'm going to have to do to get to this next level. It means I have to do things I've never done before. I have to to say things I've never done, and or say things I've never said, and go places I've never gone. And I'm doing that, and it's painful, and it's stretching me, and it's scary and vulnerable. It's making me look at all the areas of my life that I don't have peace or over, or anything that steals my peace. Needing to ruthlessly remove these things from my life. I need to remove these things from my life because it isn't worth it. Anything that steals my peace, my joy. I'm out here alone on this mountain. I know there's no one else out here because my car is the only car that's out here. There may be others who came the other way somehow, but typically there's no one up at this time out here. And I remember the first time I did this trail, whenever it was complete darkness and I couldn't see in front of me. It was the first episode of my podcast. And I was in a very dark place in my life. I had been contemplating suicide. Thinking that there was no solution in my life. Wanting to escape myself and the pain that I was feeling. I'd been there in my life a few times, and I'd wanted to share about it, and felt so ashamed of it. I didn't want to go there, didn't talk about it. I posted things about it and then deleted these things. Truth is, men specifically have a real problem with this. I had a friend in the Marine Corps who he took his own life out after he left. And it was after he got out of the Marine Corps, he made it all the way through. Then he took his life. And I remember thinking, you would have never known by this person's demeanor and the way they carried themselves, the private pain and shame and guilt that he carried. I've never actually talked about him. Called him, I don't even know his first name. He was my friend. We knew each other by last names. And I just can't remember his first name. I know his first name, but really our names were our last names in the Marine Corps. I remember feeling, in a way, like I couldn't believe it. But it's so common. It's so common in the military. It's so common in men. It's too common that people feel no way out. They don't feel seen. They don't feel safe to share without judgment, to share their darkest parts of themselves without being judged. And they silently suffer for years before it bottles up and it kills them. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what shame or guilt you carry. I don't know what pain you carry. I don't know where you are in your life. But I can tell you that having gone to the brink and looked over the edge of the cliff in a very literal sense, I can tell you that Everything in your life is temporary, including the deepest pain that you feel. It's not going to stay constant. It's not going to always be there that way. But if you bottle up everything that you feel, you don't release it, you don't let it out, you don't find a place to let it go, then it can kill you. And the tragedy is that I feel that the people that hurt the most, that feel the most pain, are the ones who have the deepest love available and capacity to give and be a light in this world. The deeper the pain, the greater the capacity for the opposite. It's people that don't know real pain, that in a way, they're just vanilla, they're just bland, they don't have any depth to them as far as emotionality. And they can only love to the capacity that they've felt pain and sadness and despair. And I think the world needs more love, not less. More light, not less. And it's the darkest, darkest, darkest places that have the greatest, light has the greatest impact. And so if you've been in that dark, dark, dark place to the brink, and you can find a way to shine a light, your light becomes so bright, brighter than anyone else's, and gives you the capacity to shine that level of light on the darkest of darkest places in other people, and the world can be healed. And I feel a giant calling in my life to help men and women, but in the ways that I can, men to understand that it's safe to be vulnerable, it's safe to feel, it's safe to share your emotions, it's safe to present the real you, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. To not be ashamed, to not hide, to not bottle up, to learn to be vulnerable with yourself so that you can learn to be vulnerable with your partners and your daughters and your lovers and your friends and your businesses and your communities and with others. Because we all walk around with this like blockage on allowing others to see us. But if you've ever just let your guard down and connected with a stranger and asked them a story that was heartfelt, you find that most people in the world are beautiful in some way or another. There's a beauty about every single human being, just being a human being that has a pulse and is alive. Some people have had that beauty hidden from them, that deep, special thing about them that is the life force behind their breath. And they're trapped and they're suffocated by their own shame and guilt and pain. And they don't know how to release it. They don't know how to remove it. They don't know how to move emotions through your body. They don't know how to get that shit out. And that shit is deadly. It's not just deadly to you. It's deadly to everyone. It's deadly to love. It's deadly to peace. It's deadly to joy. It's deadly to contribution. It's deadly to collaboration. It's deadly to your dreams, to your hopes, to your desires. It's a killer, it's a stealer of life. I want to use what I've learned and the gifts that I have, and my talents, and my abilities, and my words, and my art, and my heart to help others to heal the parts of them that they feel too ashamed to share with others. Heal the parts of them that they can't look at them themselves. I felt my whole life, why do I feel so deep? Why do I feel so much? I felt it was a curse. Walking around in a world where nearly nobody has the ability to feel the way that I feel. I recognize that my heart and my feelings and my emotionality and my vulnerability are my superpower. I'm learning that in my mastermind. I'm learning that in my life. I'm learning that through others who are becoming more vulnerable and in touch with who they really are and okay with themselves and open. I'm seeing it in real time. I'm seeing how people transform when I go first. I'm being transformed by following others who are going first and going places that I could never go first. If you're somebody who's struggling or feeling something that's been bottling up, and you've never told anybody, you've never shared, please reach out. Say something. Don't keep it in. Nothing is going to be forever. Nothing is going to last into infinity. Even our lifespan, no matter what, you're going to die. Maybe you have at best 100 years. Maybe by longevity standards, when things kick in, maybe we'll live to 120, 130. But there's an expiration date. And nothing's going to last your whole lifetime like that. It isn't worth it. There's so much for you to give and receive in this lifetime that there's no reason to hold on to the things you think that make you unlovable, the bad things that you've done that you're ashamed of, that make you think you're not worthy of ever receiving love, the thing that you think that if anybody knew, then you would never be loved. And I'm here to tell you that I have found people, I have found a community of people who've shown me unequivocally that is not true. That you can be loved for all the parts of you can be seen, the most shameful pieces of you can be seen and still accepted and loved. And by feeling that, you can also learn and see that you can witness and see and accept all those parts of you and love them. Because those things got you to where you are. And so you could be thankful for those things that you did that you're not proud of, those things that you feel shame for, the guilt, the pain. You can be thankful for them because they got you to this place, to here. But now, you can choose to let those things go, drop them at your feet, and continue moving up the mountain, feeling a little bit lighter. So this was what bubbled up and came out today for me. I'm going to sit in silence and walk up the rest of the mountain. Today's a little bit of a heavy message, but it's a necessary one. If no one has told you, if no one has shown you, I love you, I see you, you deserve to be seen and heard. If you need to reach out, don't let things eat you up inside. Don't suffer in silence anymore. Big love, big blessings.